I'm gonna get medieval on your asses.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. Last night on a Twitter space, I had a debate with Andrew Wilson, and he fucking kicked me because he couldn't fucking... He get backed into a corner, and he kicked me. And then he offered to debate me on his stream, but then... So he's like, do you want a formal... didn't say formal, he said, do you want to do a long-form debate on my stream? And I'm like, yeah, okay. I nominate Big Tech to be the moderator. Both me, Big Tech, and Andrew Wilson all have very different politics, but I trust Big Tech to be able to moderate. Especially someone as fucking slimy as Andrew. Because he's not a good debater. He positions himself as a good debater. He pretends to be a good debater. That's his thing, but he sucks at it. Most of the time, his arguments go down to, but God. And then he just acts condescending and dismissive about everything you say. Every opinion that you have or every framework that is different from his opinion or framework, he'd be like, where's your proof? Like, you'll say that you believe that God doesn't exist. He'd be like, what's your proof? Or like, I mean, you'll say that you think that I said that I think that the whatever podcast is just spreading misogyny, and basically he wasn't even able to have that argument with me. But later on, another guy was able to break the shell a little bit past the bad faith barrier because he was more placating and giving himself up to Andrew in the beginning, just to try to get a little bit of good faith from that fucking asshole. And it didn't work, and it ended up catching Andrew in a lot of contradictions. I have a lot to say about the way Andrew debates, and we're going to go over it. It was really upsetting to see after that Leah, who was another person who debated with him right before me, afterwards she's like, oh, well, I recognize that him and his wife, they're good people, even though they disagree with them. No, they're not. Dude, his whole thing is being a condescending, passive-aggressive asshole who thrives and, like, gets great enjoyment and, enrichment and money from shaming people. That's his whole thing, and he does it stupidly. He's not a good person. He's a fucking asshole. That being said, though, I mean, this stream is... I am advertising his stream by doing this. It's not like I hate him. It's not like I think he should be deplatformed, but he's not a fucking good person. He's a really shitty person. Okay. I'm going to get my fucking link out. Let's get that fucking link out, boys and girls. Let's go. Yeah, you know what time it is. It's time to get that fucking link out. Welcome to the stream once again. If you're just joining, Andrew Wilson is an incel factory. Alright, let me think about this. Alright, let's just go. Okay. There he is. Right. I'm gonna have to be skipping around in this. I don't want to listen to this whole thing. It's like 2 hours, and I gotta go to work in like an hour and a half. So.
Sorry, I'm just taking care of the issue on my end. I'm also live streaming this, so let's dive into it. I want to make sure you guys can hear me, though.
Let's let him introduce
Maybe
it.
I can bring somebody up. Maybe I can bring somebody up, and they can tell me if they can hear me or not. Satius, can I bring you in real quick? Give me the thumbs up.
Just get to it,
oh, there we
motherfucker.
Go. Hang on.
I ain't got time for this shit.
Hello, we can hear you fine.
You can hear me? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right, great. So, how do I make you, I guess, co-mod on this? Co-host, all right. There you go. We got the co-host invite there. All right.
Yeah,
I think
wanted
we've got
to
it,
let him
guys.
do a little bit of
We've got it.
preamble because I want
Cozy
to
sends in
introduce it.
1,000 SEK dollars and says, when you go back to the Whatever podcast, tell Brian he needs to be more kind towards Nick. And oh my fucking God, I don't understand how you can debate the girls there or tards like Destiny or the wannabes. Like, how hard is it to say yes or no to a question? You're amazing. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Let me dive into kind of the point of the space.
Okay, he's going to...
There's been a lot of leftist criticism which has been going on towards the Whatever podcast. I see that Max, Mr. Girl, he's going to be doing a hit piece on it shortly. The kind of irony behind Mr. Girl doing this hit piece, his criticism seems to be that there's an underpinning for misogyny. There's an underpinning for misogyny which is going on. And so he's going to get to the heart of it by expressing this kind of misogyny. So he's requested that many of the women who have been on the Whatever podcast reach out to him so that he can put together his hit piece. Interestingly enough, it seems to me that he wants to also kind of get rid of their agency. He wants to pretend that these women are so stupid that they were coming under false pretenses, whereas they really aren't.
He didn't say
They're
that.
trying to get on the largest platforms that they possibly can.
You got to wait. Okay, Andrew, you got to wait until he actually writes the paper before you respond to whatever the fuck he says, because he certainly didn't say that yet. You fucking asshole. You are so bad at debating. It's not, I don't even think he's necessarily bad at debating. It's just so bad faith. All he does is posture and try to make it so that you can't talk. Like I'm already getting triggered. I want to let you know in this when I'm showing up in this fucking conversation here, this fucking debate shit, I jump in like huffing and puffing, like ramped up. And there are a couple of reasons. One, because it's Andrew Wilson, but way more than that. It's not really them. It's just that Twitter Spaces in general do this to me. Not that I need an excuse for being emotional, but I'm not ashamed. I think I was debating well, but I think that me being really emotional doesn't play well to his fucking audience, because his whole thing is getting the other person to get upset, and then that makes him look like he won. So right off the bat, even though I completely destroyed him and like he looks like an asshole moron, he's gonna say, "Oh no, you're just a triggered whatever." Like his wife started like screaming at me, saying that I'm just I don't know. She's just hurling insults at me. She cut in to do that. So, and then afterwards, anyway, yeah, something about Twitter Spaces, having to wait to get invited on, knowing that they can kick you at any moment, which he did. As soon as I got him into a corner, he kicked me. Yeah, okay, let's...
so that they can, represent
I'm gonna need to fast forward a bit.
OnlyFans or...
Yeah, he's just, he's I mean, I think he would say that he's steel manning Max, but he's really just making shit up. So he's straw manning. He does that a lot. He says that he's steel manning when in fact he's literally straw manning. He does a lot of double speak. Like he will say, I'm about to steel man you real quick. And when you steel man somebody, you're supposed to say whatever they think in the most good faith, strongest way you possibly can. And then he will say what they think in the most bad faith, weakest way he possibly can. And that's literally a straw man. He's such a shitty person. He thinks he's trying to steel man, but he's such a shitty person that he literally cannot bring himself to do it. And when he tries to steel man, he defaults back to fucking straw manning. You said you listened to it and you and I got freaked out and got annihilated. No, I got freaked out, and that doesn't mean I got annihilated. Just because I got emotional doesn't mean I got annihilated. It means that he can look smug, but it doesn't mean that he's right. Me getting emotional does not mean I lose. That's not what that. If that's what debating, like, that's not debating. That's what he's good at. That's what he calls debating, but it's not debating. It's what people call blood sports and shit. It doesn't make you right just because the other person gets emotional. It just means that you're more dispassionate than they are. That's all that means. And maybe you were able to trigger them. Okay. Let's go to jump forward here a bit.
Fame, fortune, things like. No, we can't really hear you, man.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, we can hear you, kinda.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get a couple of these first couple of people, because what they keep saying. They keep saying that the criticism is that the whatever podcast is creating simps. It's a simp factory. Because it draws attention to these OnlyFans girls, which I completely disagree with. It's exactly the opposite. Framing it like that is framing it in the dichotomy that the whatever podcast creates is exactly what those people who are saying that it's a simp factory. It creates a dichotomy where if you have any respect or decency towards women at all, then you are a simp, and otherwise so you just have to become a pathetic incel retard that has no ability to talk to women whatsoever, and that's the only way that you cannot be a simp. You have to constantly be virtue signaling how much you hate women and how much you don't respect them. I mean, for sure, a lot of these bimbo OnlyFans girls, they don't present themselves in a respectable way, but that's on purpose because they want to get hate views. The reason that they go onto the whatever podcast is so that they can get hate attention. They don't go there so that they can get simps. They go there so they can, and it works out. That's why they keep going. And Andrew kept bringing up this point to me, like, oh, well, why would that doesn't make sense, because before that they already a lot of them, not all of them, but some of them, he said a lot, but some of them have a big following before that. So why would they do that? Because they're still trying to market themselves, moron. Because it works. I'm not talking about how they got their followers before this. I'm talking about why they go on the whatever podcast. He just changes the topic to that, just to avoid having this conversation. I'm already triggered. Does that mean I lose? No. Okay, I need to find.
Let me mute that one. Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Hey, what's going on? Whatever you're listening to us on is creating an echo feedback, so you might want to turn off whatever that other device is.
I did.
Okay. So what's on your mind, man?
I'm on here just, my mind goes blank whenever I'm trying to make a point sometimes. On the spot, I didn't think I was going to be the first one to talk. I've been on several other podcasts, and
that's the thing about the fucking Twitter spaces. You don't know when they're going to pull you in. Somebody with a bigger following, it's always that the people with a bigger following get pulled in first. So you immediately are put into this position where you're feeling like insecure about it. Like, oh, these people, they're not going to pull me in. And then when you get pulled in, you have to really prove yourself because you're the underdog. And it's just a really uncomfortable position. And you know that they'll like a guy like him, he's just going to kick you as soon as you disagree. I don't think at this point there was only like 30 people in there, so I don't think there was any bigger people in there. It's for him
YouTube
to prioritize
land and stuff and all massage.
They want to that position, then specifically looking for people who are critics, who are criticizing the whatever podcast, and they want to kind of push back against it and think it's awful, et cetera, et cetera. I actually want to hear what their arguments are. So if you're here to kind of support that position, then yeah, that's not really what we're looking for in the space, but for people who want to get pushback. Yeah,
Kilo, him and his wife, like very loudly, were saying that the point is to shame these women, and that's what they want, and it's their like Andrew was saying, it's his duty. He said it doesn't matter if it makes everybody misogynistic. Doesn't matter what the outcome is. It doesn't matter what the end result is. It's simply his duty to do the act of shaming these women. Doesn't matter if it makes everybody hate women. Doesn't matter if the podcast is set up to bring on these performative bimbo OnlyFans women who are going to make women look bad and attract all this hate attention for their own benefit. It doesn't matter. It's still his duty to just shame them. Doesn't matter that he's lining his pockets doing it. It's just because that's, I'm assuming that's what God wants him to do, is you have to shame these women. Doesn't matter if it's designed to do that at the expense of all women. Doesn't matter if they want you to do that because that's why they're benefiting and that's why they're going on the show. Doesn't matter if there's collateral damage of other women who don't know that that's what's happening and they get brought on the show. Just got to do it. You got to shame these fucking bimbos. Yeah, I saw the girl that cried leaving. She wasn't ready. She didn't, and she wasn't ready to go into debate mode about it either. And then she said they were being misogynistic, and then Brian asks her to define misogyny, and then she gets choked up, and she goes silent. She doesn't know what to say, and then she says she wants to leave, and she looked like a pathetic little loser beta bitch, huh? That means you lose. We broke you. You lose. These people, it's not debating. It's bullying. There's a difference. Like, they're not even on the same spectrum, debating and bullying. Yo, thank you. Thank you for the $5 for my genius hat. I got another one, but it's not nearly the same. It's it's in like Comic Sans and it's very small, so I do need another one, and it's not as bold. Yeah, thank you very much. I need a new genius hat. All right, I'm gonna.
Somewhat positive. Brian will be losing guests because we're gonna see smart women say, "Oh, I don't want to go on that podcast to be embarrassed," but they know the price of course.
That's not true, because these OnlyFans girls know that when they go on there, so they're framing it like and. They're not understanding what the podcast is. It's these OnlyFans girls that they berate go on there to get the hate viewers. The OnlyFans girls that go on to Fresh and Fit don't go on there because they are trying to find simps. They're trying to get all the negative attention. That negative attention is fiery. I told Andrew that he would not have a channel if people didn't hate him. That seemed to trigger him, so I guess I won that. But that's true. That's how you get a fiery amount of views. You're gonna get a genius flat bill hat. It's like a oxymoron.
Of course, any embarrassment it's worth it because you're gonna get 1,000 more simps on their OnlyFans.
It's not simps.
So they know what they're doing. They're not victims. They're actually profiting off this whatever podcast.
They're not making
just a journalist.
They're not making simps by berating these women and making them look stupid. They're making incels who hate women. And yes, the women do get lots of subs to their OnlyFans. Dude, have you never done this? I've done this plenty of times, maybe 10 times, where I'll see a girl that I think is hot, and I see that she has an OnlyFans, and so I just I see that, oh, it's only $5 to sub, so I click $5. I Google OnlyFans downloader, and I click on the button in the application in my Chrome browser, and I download all of their images really fast, and then I unsubscribe and never pay them again. And so I've given them $5, and now I have all of their things, and I can jerk off to them because there's somebody that I watched, either that I hated their guts or I liked them. It doesn't matter. Like giving these people money doesn't mean that you're simping for them. When was the last time that you were in love with the girl that you're jerking off to? Porn is not even designed that way. You're not even meant to see the porn star as a person. You're meant to dehumanize them. You see them like we don't even make a lot of porn where you're even meant to really see them as a person. The people who are attracted to these porn stars, these OnlyFans girls, through the whatever podcast, are not going there to simp. They're going there to hate jerk off because this fucking hot bitch, it was on this podcast and they want to fucking fuck her, even though they hate her. And all it takes is throwing $5 at her and you get a shit ton of nudes. So they just do it.
So
that's what's happening.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I have kind of some other arguments that I would bring to the forefront, but when some of the haters come in, I can tangle with them, and we'll see what's on their mind. I actually do appreciate you coming up to speak, kind of put that out there because it helps set the tone. So
okay, here we go. That feels like projection. It's not. I cannot recall doing the hate jerking off thing. But I know that if I was attracted to a girl as a whatever podcast viewer, I would be that. I think it's not projection. I think that when I'm saying this about all porn, it's not designed for you to be in love with the porn star. Only the most pathetic, brain-broken people in the world could will look at porn and feel like they're in love with the porn star. Like, not even a teenager does that. Like, it's so detached from any human. There's nothing to be in love with in a porn star when you're looking at the porn. It's not designed for that. It's only designed to be objectifying of them, is looking at them as a body. There's nothing to be in love with. You wonder how tall I am. I am 5'10".
Appreciate that.
I am the exact height for it to be completely irrelevant to anything. It'd be more fun. Except everything's designed for short people these days because the lowest common denominator. Really annoying.
I'm going to take you down from the speaker position, get to some of the other
get to somebody else.
Good name. Good name.
And so I'll probably drop.
Can you hear me okay?
It's normalization of simp behavior is really really my issue with it. It's an entertaining podcast, of course. So
it's not normal. Calling the whatever podcast normalization of simp behavior is absolutely insane. That attitude is the attitude that the whatever podcast creates. It creates a dichotomy where having any compassion or empathy towards women is simp behavior, and you have to treat them like shit and hate them. Anything they do wrong, you have to be hypercritical of. And yeah, this guy that's saying that the only whatever podcast creates simp behavior is the incel that the whatever podcast has created. The only way he's ever going to be happy is if he finds a woman who truly, truly hates herself, the way he hates her. That's the type of person that this creates, and those people are not going to be able to find someone like that.
Knock it in terms of entertainment value here, but yeah. No.
Yes, some people just want to look at tits. So when you just want to look at tits, you're not in love with her. Part of you sees that it's a human being and not just an inanimate part of tits. And you're not in love with her. You have contempt for her. You feel like if you actually were in love with a porn star in the porn that you look at, you would be disgusted because she's being exploited. Like, I'm sure Andrew here and a lot of like these people would agree, like it's women shouldn't be doing this because it's bad for them. Maybe they would just say it's because God says it's bad for them, but I actually think it is bad for them. The way the industry is set up, the way It's if you actually start empathizing with the girl that you're jerking off to in the porn, then you're going to suddenly feel bad about jerking off. And the reason that you don't feel bad is because you hate her. You have a little bit of contempt. I mean, that's fine, but it is what it is.
Normalizes simp behavior. Obviously, it drives ultimately.
There's necessarily contempt, because if you didn't have that, you would feel worse.
A financial funnel to OnlyFans creators. Again, nothing against the the host, of course, and the panelists that he brings on that are curated.
What's
but
up?
yeah,
Wazowski in chat.
Last guy kind of got it.
Well, the last guy's point was actually the opposite of that. So the last guy was saying that this was necessary because this type of behavior would go on anyway, even if...
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. I thought this was an opposition stream here. So
maybe it just ain't that deep, and this is your baggage you're projecting into the world. No, it's not my baggage. This is... Like, I find a lot of porn distasteful because I empathize, and it makes me not want to look at it. If I was not empathizing, like I used to when I was a teenager, then I would have no problem looking at it. And that's where I think people are coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what he was saying. You seem to be saying instead that that it's a promotion of simp behavior, them having the show.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's outrightly disagreed with by the host, but what happens? These simps come into the stream. They go.
So if it's disagreed with by the host, Brian, that it's creating simps, but also disagreed with that it's creating incel misogynists, then what is it? Is this really just an academic, intellectual thing? Andrew himself was saying very adamantly that it's about shaming these women. So shaming these women in an academic way? No, it's because you want people to hate them. It's not creating simps.
Go to the OnlyFans creators.
Cover from a journalistic standpoint, you would be drawing behavior to whatever that thing is, and so may naturally increase that thing no matter what, right? Wouldn't that apply to everything?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, that's the whole concept of no press is bad press. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, is it ultimately a...
Yeah, so this attitude is just these women are so awful that engaging with them at all is bad. And I mean, I think that it's kind of valid if you think that they're so awful. And I do think that these women are getting what they want out of the whatever podcast. They go on there and they do their I'm a stupid girl and I don't know anything, but look, I got big boobies. Boo 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 boo. Look at me. A lot of them even are laughing when they're being insulted because they know that means that they're going to get subscribers on their fucking OnlyFans. I need to get to
push it back against leftism.
Leah.
But with the whatever podcast, there seems to be a relationship between the host and adult content creators.
Yeah, but I mean, he would have to have those kinds of relationships in order to have guests on his program, right?
Yes, exactly. This guy's got it right. It's a symbiotic relationship between the OnlyFans creators and the whatever podcast. Whatever podcast creates an audience of misogynistic incels who hate them, and the OnlyFans creators benefit by feeding into that and getting a lot of attention. And then there's all the women who aren't the OnlyFans creators, who are going into a war zone. Sometimes they don't know what they're getting into. Collateral damage, baby. Makes the show more interesting. There's more different perspectives. See, we don't only bring on OnlyFans girls. We don't only do that. See, we bring on normal girls, and see, they act just as stupid. They shut down and leave and start crying. See, women are stupid and pathetic and emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is.
I need to stop skipping around, but I'm gonna.
Well, he does bring on OnlyFans women, but he brings on a mixture of women.
Yeah. See, it's like bring on a mixture as a defense. No.
And the whole point of having the contention is he seems to be wanting to pit the worldview of both trad women, simps and non-simps, trad men, and political ideologies in between to give their takes on what's going on with the current pornography culture in the country. Don't you think that...
I just expressed a lot of criticism of the pornography culture that is completely outside of what is happening in the Whatever podcast. Like, he's framing it as if being critical of the Whatever podcast makes you a simp and makes you an advocate for porn. No. You just posture and frame. I need to let him talk but I need to get to where he's talking to Lav or something. Here, because I have to leave
super relevant,
in
but
1
yeah,
hour.
I used to be like really. I wasn't a leftist.
Women are looking too stupid. They don't
All
know.
right.
Fact,
Here's
criticism
just
that
Pearly
I've
Things
heard,
comes on.
kind of levied from a bunch of people who enjoy the podcast, that the left is mostly mobilizing against it because they can't figure out a way to use it to make themselves look good.
Nice straw man there, buddy.
Yeah, possibly. I just think that whenever
That sounds reasonable to me.
What?
Yeah.
That's a
I mean,
fucking
they generally don't like
shitty,
anything they
retarded
can't
point.
manipulate to promote their side of the propaganda.
Like in the words of Andrew when he's debating somebody who has a point, like because that's an opinion, okay? I don't agree with it. And if Andrew was talking to someone who had an opinion, to be like, prove it. Where's your evidence? I know you think that. Where's your evidence?
I just think the women are looking too stupid. They
You
don't
just
know
said
what to do. They're like, no, they're infants. And then Brian's like, well, they're 25. And then they're like, well,
yeah, this is interesting
with
that
hard questions.
Yeah, it is interesting that one of the big things that they kind of seem to want to propagate here is that these women are infants and are incapable. They're infantilizing them, right? They're saying these stupid infant women have no business going on to this.
Okay, clearly nobody on the left is saying, because he brought this up because of Max. Max hasn't said shit. He's just making up like this imaginary straw man of what a theoretical interlocutor would say. So it really helps his side of the debate when he's debating himself and making the whole thing up. But none of them would ever say, like, even if they are infantilizing the women, they wouldn't say that they are. And if you, because after the debate, I took what he said and I broke it all down, because what he said is that it doesn't matter what the outcome of the show is. It doesn't matter if it makes everybody hate women. It doesn't matter if it makes everybody misogynistic. It's still his duty. And so that's what and he didn't literally directly say that, but he's like, where's the clip? And that's part of why before that I already decided I was going to go over it, but that's part of why I'm going to have to go over it now. That's why I have to fucking get through this. But if I'm not allowed to paraphrase or like, because he's right that if you are infantilizing women, it's not that you're literally saying that they're children, but it's as if you're saying they're children. It's not like he's wrong, but he's so bad faith. I don't want to give him anything, because if he's going to shut me down for doing, like, just for having a normal conversation, just having an opinion, he shuts people down, and then he does all this. He does everything that shuts people down for doing to a far greater extent, and he does it nonstop, endlessly. And it's because he can only see things from his one narrow perspective worldview. That's why he's the Crucible, baby. He's on a fucking crusade from God.
Show where they're being exploited because, well, they're stupid. You should get kind of these smarter, sophisticated leftist women on. But Pearl, there really aren't that many smart, sophisticated leftist women, are there?
No. Wait. Oh my gosh. It's like we look for them. Do you guys understand how hard it is to get?
I know tons of them. Like like I see them on Twitter all the time. I'm just like, I'm picturing faces. I don't remember like names, but like I do know plenty of them. They don't want to go on that show because the show isn't designed to have a good conversation. You're bringing like red pillars and like Andrew Tate type people on. They don't want to go and just be berated and shamed, because what he's gonna say, and I hopefully get to it, is it's all about shaming these women. So why would they want to go? Like, this is not an avenue for women who want to have an intellectual conversation.
To like recruit for these podcasts, it's not easy. And honestly, you hear the same talking points from women of all social classes, all backgrounds. Like, even women that maybe aren't necessarily on OnlyFans have normal jobs. They repeat.
See, she's trying to she's trying to frame this as all women. It's just an incel factor. It's not all women, dude. I know so many women that fucking hate women. Okay, all the things that I'm annoyed by women about, I can connect with women on those things, because there's so many women that feel the same about these things. It's not all women. There's a lot of women that think some stupid things, or like, and it comes from places. It's not because they're just born evil or they're going against God. You're part of the cycle. You're causing this by doing this. You're making men hate women, and you're making them into incels, and then it makes women disillusioned with men, so they don't want to. Nobody's empathizing with each other. It makes it more polarized. You just framed it a second ago as a big coming together of ideas, so that we can all have them all like, mesh together, even though it's about shaming, which completely undermines that. But you framed it as we're bringing all these different perspectives together. Well, if that was the case, well, you're failing, because what you're doing is you're further polarizing people by shaming and making it all about like bullshit shaming. You're a fucking woke scold, dude. You cannot just live your values and try to be someone that people can aspire to, and try to show people like, this is how you can. I don't even, the way he presents himself, I don't know shit about him or how he conducts himself. All I know is that how venomous he is, and how much he tries to make other people look stupid. He doesn't really present himself as and try to show people how to live your virtues.
A ton of the feminist propaganda. Like, and I'll get this from mothers, like, I'll get this from housewives.
I need to skip ahead to where Lav comes in, because I have
making fun of him.
I have literally 1 hour.
She's literally making fun of him. Come on.
Can I just understand what is true?
Camera shots, they don't.
All the seats are full.
Thing as sex work.
Oh, okay.
That is like that.
Yeah, in order to get those in, yeah, I can actually explain what her function is, because I asked her while I was there, Lav.
Okay. So Lav is talking about this this young Asian girl. She's 18, who's on the whatever podcast, and Lav is falling into the trap of arguing if it's sex work for her to be there doing the Ohuego face constantly behind Brian, which is a highly sexual face, and it's like a porn face that people jerk off to, and she's fallen into the trap of arguing if it's sex work. So now she's having the argument to argue for her framework that sexualized content that is sexually appealing to people is sex work, and then Pearl is like, no, unless they're fucking, it's not sex work. Fell into the trap, and they're using this secondary argument to avoid saying that it is sexual, period. It's so annoying.
So what happens is sometimes people fail to show up. In fact, this happens all the time, because they book 7, 8, 9, 10 people at a time. This, you were there in the studio, how small it actually is.
Yeah. I don't think shame is a viable approach to like making the world a better place at all. No, I don't think that even. I think that's empirically proven wrong too.
In order to get those camera shots, they don't want to see empty chairs, and they want to see proper spacing. So one of the functions that she has, and you'll see this often, is she will fill the empty chair. That's one thing that she does. She also helps with the studio set.
Lav did not argue that black people are bad. She tried to be funny and then use like some like right-wing racist talking points
She also helps
don't even
with
wanna
all
stream
sorts of
that part.
different things. She's definitely an employee of the show, and it kind of makes sense to have a woman who can fill in if necessary on the spot. So
Sure, but that's not bringing up the fact that in a lot of the broadcasts, she's sitting behind Brian while all the seats are full, and she's making ahigo faces. I don't know if you know what ahigo faces are. At the camera behind Brian. That is like that.
Yeah,
is her
because it's
function.
hilarious.
And then he's brought up. It's not hilarious.
Yeah, she's making fun of him. She's making fun of him.
So if you do a parody porn of Family Guy, is it not porn now because it's hilarious? It's like you're just changing the topic and you're just refusing to accept her framework, and then you make the whole debate about shutting everything she downs because you're refusing to be good faith and accept her framework and move forward in the debate. So you actually aren't engaging. This is literally the definition of being bad faith. I hate it. He doesn't actually engage. He shuts everyone down. That's his whole thing. He never gets to the point of debating.
Literally making fun.
He's a horrible debater. He's just a bully.
One of them. Come on.
Can I just understand your logic? I just want to understand your logic. A woman making a face is sex work.
Do you know what the concept of ahigo is, Pearl?
No. I want a girl making a face. I've been on the show. I know.
Okay,
what she
so
does.
if you can't answer my question,
what is it?
We can't have this discussion.
Do you think a woman making a face is the same thing as sex work?
Do you know what an ahigo face is, Pearl?
Why don't you answer my question?
If a woman is making... Yeah, let me answer it, babe. If a woman is making a series of pornified faces that are well known in anime communities and pornified male communities as sexual faces, and she's sitting there and all the comments are just talking about how cute and hot she is constantly, yes, I think that is a form of sex work.
So,
and I think in good faith...
Hang on, let her respond, Laugh. Let her respond. Laugh. Hey, let her respond now.
Okay, so I want to repeat it. You think that a woman making a face is the same thing as sex work?
See, it's not her fucking point. It's not. And then she has to go and she has to explain that, obviously sex work is as she is defining it here is a spectrum where there is just making a huego face and for people to gawk at and say that she's so hot, all the way to getting fucked on camera. And a huego face in the background of a podcast is going to be a lot lower on the spectrum. And so she has to explain this, even though these people understand, they just don't want to accept it and they don't want to go forward in good faith in the fucking conversation. Infuriating. It's mostly infuriating because it's actually less infuriating with Pearl. But with Andrew, he brands himself as this master debater, but he's horrible at debating. He's truly never even gets to the point of debating. There was like this there was this political streamer debate-a-thon thing where this like way bigger guy than I forget, but I did a write-up about this in response to Will's write-up. Like the other guy left immediately because they were supposed to be debating on one topic, and then Andrew just starts talking about like trans stuff, just to prove the other guy's a hypocrite, completely failing to engage in the topic they were supposed to debate about, and that they were both supposed to be prepared for. He doesn't actually engage in the debate you want to have with him ever. And nobody ever, he always changes it into something else or shuts you down and makes it about some stupid thing, fights you on even like having a premise, because the only possible worldview is his, and any other worldview is, in his mind, completely wrong. And there's no such thing as an alternative opinion.
I think in some cases a woman making a face can be
the power of God on his side, baby.
I didn't realize that women were this retarded. No, that is not sex work.
Well,
I mean, she's proven that one woman is retarded right now. That's one thing that she's got a point in her favor. I need to go forward.
I would not call her a sex worker. I gotta go.
See, I just skipped like 10 minutes there.
See you later, Pearl.
They still we're on that.
Bye, Pearl.
Bye. All right, Laugh. Go ahead. Sorry.
Wait, first of all, I'm confused because I'm 25, engaged to be married, and haven't ever fucked a black guy. And she wants to talk about degeneracy?
Okay, this is where she's just trying to fucking throw mud. Okay, so now she's doing the thing that Lav does. Okay, where now she's just, because apparently the only woman that Pearl ever dated publicly was black, and so now she's trying to use the racist right-wing bullshit of like mixed racing shit as like some kind of I'm not really interested in listening to that part. You understand what's gonna happen. And then Andrew's like, oh, I would never, I never have engaged in rhetoric like that. I don't know if he does, but he definitely knows what she's talking about. I don't know. I think she might have been presumptuous to assume that he's racist. I don't really think he's actually racist.
To imagine human nature, it's hard to imagine what it's like to go viral for saying something stupid, right? So, of course, mistakes are made.
Yeah, but why do those women then? Why? Okay. Hang on. This actually, we got to go a point at a time. No, we've got to go. We've only got to go a point at a time. Otherwise, you end up making 4 points.
You stop me in the middle of.
I have to stop you in the middle of a point in order to address the point. So I will steel man this point, okay, to make sure that I don't get it wrong. Your claim here is that, wait a second. Because people, women in this case, or men, doesn't matter, they probably don't even understand the negative side effects of what a viral clip that makes them look stupid is going to do to them. That's your claim. Am I right about that?
Yeah, do you think that that's
okay?
A descriptive or prescriptive claim?
Now let me respond to it. Well, I'm arguing with the descriptive claim. Okay. Even the descriptive claim here, I don't think is true, because most of these women have these viral clips and then fucking come back.
That's because they're profiting off of it. They have these viral clips, and then tons of fucking incels go to their OnlyFans and jerk off to them. That's why they go on the fucking podcast.
I don't think that that's true.
That is true. It is true. In fact,
but again, this is why you need to let me finish my
Kiko
points.
comes back. Well, wait, we're on 1 point, right? So
you're gonna hear a beep, and it's me. Ready?
Can't Gish gallop and
that was me.
Evade. Kiko came back.
Nala
came back. All these different people came back to the show after these viral clips came
Andrew,
out.
Why are you scared to let me finish a point?
Why are you scared to let me address one? Why are you scared to let me address a point? Instead, I have to let you Gish gallop. We're on a single point. Let's get the point out, so that you can't move away from the point over and over and over. So to respond to this, they come back on the show. Can you respond to that criticism?
So she's saying that the show is misogynistic, and he's saying, well, they come back, so it's fine. I know that argument. I've heard it before. It's I mean, I'm sure Andrew would get triggered, or we wouldn't get triggered. He would smell blood in the water, and he'd head right for it, actually, if I were to say this. But that's definitely the argument of rape culture, where, well, she came back, she liked it.
So the criticism that you're making, that you don't think that it's true.
Yeah, I'm saying that your descriptive claim is false, and my evidence for this is that they come back even after these viral clips, making them look stupid.
Your evidence
come
is
out.
Anecdotal, just as mine.
No, mine's not anecdotal. Mine's not anecdotal. I'm giving you evidence.
Oh, so you have statistical evidence showing that
it doesn't need to.
Yeah, there are some women that come back. Some of them probably don't come back too. And
wait.
Come on.
It doesn't need to be.
Okay, so neither does mine.
It doesn't need to be empirical.
It's an assumption about their intentions and their experience when they come back. It's absolutely actually not true that because they come back, that means they weren't being hurt. They probably also benefited from it, or maybe they did like it too. You're making an assumption.
In that sense, it is still empirical to say, though, that they come back on, so the criticism falls short.
Sure, and do you not think that a part of that is to prove themselves that they're, like, not retarded? Of course, we see celebrities do this all the time. They beg for forgiveness. They try to come on. That's human nature, anyway. And also, let me finish the rest of my point, is that there are certainly women who come on just looking to promote and don't even care what they look like or whatever. But Brian also... I don't know if you know anyone who hasn't been asked to go on, but I'm someone who wasn't asked to go on. I was someone who wanted to go on. So what they do is they make you, and I can send this to you, they make you fill out like a questionnaire basically, and I'm sure that Brian chooses the most retarded and vivacious out of the fucking bunch. And these women like it. Again, I'm not even anti whatever podcast. I
Okay,
like
hang on.
that the
One
medium
point.
exists.
So
he's saying 1 point because the point that she made that he wants to engage with was bad, and she made an assumption. So he's gonna latch onto this one offhand assumption that she made, because she does that a lot, and stick to it, but not engage with her actual overall point. I mean,
so let's start with your point of they have to fill out some paperwork before they come on. And so your point here is, I'm certain that
Wait,
Brian.
also, have you seen?
Let me
have you
finish,
seen the
Lav.
questionnaire?
Let me finish. Yes, I have.
Do you know that it says to dress like it's gonna be hot in a club? What do you think that sounds like, Andrew?
Well, so it says you can, or that people enjoy that. It doesn't say that you must. There's no must. There's no entailment for must.
so it's saying that people enjoy when you dress like you're hot in a club. They have a literal sex doll set up there, and the point, as Andrew said, at least for him, is to shame them.
Must, and
Of course
that's
there's
also
a must.
that's also
There
that's
doesn't
also
need to be a must.
So why would an intellectual, smart woman want to go on a show like that?
Lav, I'm answering to your question. It doesn't say that you have to do this. What's going on
Of course.
what's going on is you're framing it as though that is said when it's not said.
What's up, Joy Root?
Not only that, when you're talking about the questionnaire itself that you're filling out to come on, you make kind of this bold claim that he's only selecting out of people who send those questionnaires in.
I didn't make that bold claim.
You did. Your exact words were,
No, I didn't.
This is why I stop you on every point. Your exact words here were I'm sure Brian's only selecting the ones that he thinks are going to be the dumbest or the most ridiculous. Those
She's probably wrong. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's no way to prove that. It's not
your
a good,
exact words.
It's not a good point.
Words.
Well, that's actually, you even got my adjectives wrong. I said retarded and vivacious.
Okay, so then you did say it.
But no, I definitely made the implication that I think that that's what he has to be doing for views, but I don't think that that's even.
And you
I
have
can't
zero
prove that.
evidence. Yeah, you have zero evidence for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
This whole all we're doing, Andrew, me and you are making anecdotal claims about the same person. So you can give your opinion, and I'm allowed to give mine. I haven't asked you for empirical data about your anecdotal thoughts about Brian.
You can make
And
this.
so
Hang on. You
asking
can
me
make.
for mine is very silly.
This is insane. So if you witness a murder, that's an anecdotal claim. But does that mean that you should not be taken seriously, or your witness should not be taken seriously?
Honestly, watching the Whatever podcast is sort of like witnessing a murder.
Yeah,
And
you're
that
not
it is
answering. You're
degenerate
not.
and
You're not
harmful to
answering. You're not
society.
answering to the question. So to answer to the question, should you be dismissed because it's anecdotal? You don't have empirical evidence. That's
yeah,
it.
someone.
That's
yeah,
not the
and someone
standard.
cannot go to jail based on witness testimony.
Yes, they can.
I hate this. Like, yeah, you can, but it's incredibly unlikely, and it's looked down upon. It's like very out of the norm for you to be able to fucking put someone in jail because of just witness testimony. You're gonna have to have a lot of witness testimony, and just those cases are few and far between because it's distasteful. It goes against what we believe is right. You have to really, really prove that that the witness testimony really is really credible and worth basing a whole conviction on. But
Not on just.
but he's gonna
witness
fucking
testimony.
Yes.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can.
No, they can't.
They
Andrew,
can.
They can.
There's no way you act.
They can. So he's right. And he's just going to shut her down because they can, even though she's not wrong. He's just saying, well, they can.
Actually think this.
I not only think it, but it's true that you can go to jail just based on
Andrew.
witness
You can.
testimony.
You
Yes,
can.
you
No, you
can.
can't.
You can. You can. I'm Mr. Bad Faith. You can.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Why do you think you can't? Show me the
Because
law that
that's not
says.
how the
Show
American
me.
law
Show me.
works,
Show me.
Andrew.
Show me that you can't go to jail based on
There
eyewitness
needs to-
testimony.
You go to jail beyond a reasonable doubt, which means that you have to have.
Beyond a reasonable doubt is usually, that's, well, in general, yeah, but like I think what she's thinking about is fucking murder trials.
at least a couple other forms of evidence.
Nope.
If some person just comes up to you and says, no, this didn't happen, or no, this did happen, that is not the deciding factor of whether or not you go to jail, Andrew.
It can, yeah. All you have to do is
Be for
demonstrate,
real.
and I'm being for real. So all you have to do is demonstrate to a jury that the eyewitness testimony is credible enough to be beyond.
And there's certain types of cases where it's more true that witness testimony can be like completely, the whole case can be completely reliant on it. She's thinking of like shit that she's seen in movies about fucking murder cases and shit.
Reasonable doubt. That's it. You can indeed, and people have gone to jail many times just based on eyewitness testimony, absent any other compelling evidence. I mean, many times in the justice system this has happened. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Many, but not most of the time, because it's not it's not right.
I don't even know how to fight this. That's not how people go to jail. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, it is, and it does happen all
This
the
is
time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Why are we fighting about this? Move on.
I have the ego death. Sorry, I'm eating a fry. I have the ego death to concede to this. I don't even care that much about it. But with the whatever podcast, bringing it back because you love to just go all over the place during a debate. This is like your entire mode of operation is just like
I go one point at a time. Don't let you gish gallop.
No,
it upsets you because anytime I pin you on a point,
No,
you get
don't
destroyed
even
on
let
it.
someone finish a point, and that's how you.
You've
end up
talked
winning
more
with
than I've
stupid
talked,
people.
Lav.
I'm above it, Andrew.
You've
You
talked
can't
more
do it
than
with
I've
me.
talked, Lav.
Well, maybe that's true, but I just have more to say generally.
Yeah, I know, because you want to gish gallop around, and when I pin you on a point, you get wrecked on the point. That's why you want to gish
me
gallop.
and wrecked me on, Andrew.
Every
What are you
point
talking
thus
about?
far
Are we
that you've
living in
made.
parallel universes?
We must be, because what's happened here is that every single time we actually draw down on an actual point that you're making, where you don't just kind of spurg all over the place, you can never make it.
Wait, how is she Darvoing him, Ricky? I mean, she's not like the best debater, but she just made a claim about him and he's denying it. Like, that's not Darvoing.
A defensible case for what it is that you're saying. This is very common for left-wing debaters, by the way. It's why they hate me, because I drill in on a single point.
I can't.
Lav thinks that sarcasm is like supporting evidence for her argument.
Yeah, you can say so. You're right, Ricky. When she said you go all over the place in a debate, that absolutely could be. You could call that projection. Yeah, but it's not Darvoing. It's just projection.
To be fair.
What do you? Okay, so
the thing is, he doesn't go all over the place. He just refuses to go anywhere you want to go, and he'll stick to any minor inaccuracy that you say or any flaw in your in anything irrelevant, like any irrelevant thing that you say. And she likes to say a lot of irrelevant things, so that's going to make it hard for her. And he'll grab onto that. He sees it like he's a shark seeing blood in the water, like I just said. He'll zoom in on that, and he won't let you go where you wanted to go. When he was debating me then, so I'm close to a half an hour left, so we're going to have to get to that. But when he was debating me, the reason that he kicked me is because I said that we just had a difference in opinion on, like, he was shutting down every opinion that I said. So then he just makes an unfounded opinion claim that he thinks that women like negative attention. So that is to do. You can imagine how that applies to the whatever podcast. Women like negative attention. And I was like, okay, well, prove it, because every time I've said anything like that, he's told me to prove it. So then he's like, okay, well, so what is your evidence? And he said, well, the evidence is sociologists say that. And so then I called that a salacious claim, a salacious appeal to authority. And then he started laughing at me and saying that it's not a salacious appeal to authority, because the only way it's a salacious appeal to authority is if you disagree on what the authority is. And then I was trying to explain that it's not that we disagree on what the authority is, it's that we disagree on what the authority is saying, because what he was saying is the equivalent of saying scientists said so. That proves I'm right, because I say scientists said so. No, you can't just say scientists said so. That's a salacious appeal to authority. He kicked me off before I could do that because I had pinned him to the wall. He absolutely did do that. And And I was emotional, so maybe to his audience it would have made him look good, but he is unable to go, like, unable to go anywhere. I don't even know what the beginning of my sentence was. I got wrapped up in remembering what would happen.
Maybe, okay, because maybe I'm confused here. What do you think my argument is?
I think that your argument, well, you've made multiple, but I'll steal man kind of each in a row. The first argument that you made was that Brian recruits locally, and most of the time these women don't even know what they're getting into. That was false.
Did I say most of the time?
Yeah, she didn't. She didn't say most of the time.
Say most of the time, yeah.
No, I didn't.
And not only that, you said, and then backed away from the claim that you're sure.
Nope, didn't back away from it.
You're
Still
sure.
beve that there are some women that he brings on.
Do you want me to steel man them one at a time or no?
Well, no, because she is saying, okay, so she is saying that you are literally straw manning me right now. I did not say that, and she didn't say that. And then he's like, are you going to continue, or are you going to let me continue steel manning you? He's literally calling his straw man a steel man. It's so infuriating. Like if she is now disagreeing with you, you cannot still define it as a steel man at that point.
This is why you win debates, is because you frame them incorrectly, Andrew.
Yeah, you can go after the steel man. That's fine, but at least let me make
go after the steel man. No, because to go after the steel man would be to be going after your own position. The steel man should be her position. If she's going after it, it means it wasn't a steel man.
The steel man. So the second steel man to your argument was that when he gets these different questionnaires in, you're sure, and this is what you said, you're sure that
that's not her argument. That's just you're just giving a straw man of a side point that she brought up.
He does is he selects for, whatever the most provocative or whatever, however you framed that. But that is what you said.
Do you think I stated that as opinion or fact?
Well, I think that you wanted to lead people.
Andrew is so afraid to debate. So he actually posted on Twitter. He reposted my thing, and he said, "Ha ha." He started laughing in text, manically, manic laughter in text, and then he said that we should do a long form debate on his channel. And so I was like, okay, I want Big Tech to moderate. And then I made a group DM with him and Big Tech. I said, can we agree on what? Because I knew it would. Because I know that he wanted to just go on and just bully me without an official topic and just make me look stupid. So I was like, okay, I need a moderator and we need to make the topic official. So then make a group DM. After saying that, and then I say, can we agree on what the topic is? He left it. He cowered it out. He's pussied out because he doesn't want to be in an actual debate with a moderator who's going to hold him down and not let him just do just retarded shit like literally straw manning and then defining it as steel manning.
Into the idea that this is what was going on. Even if it was
He's
stated
a coward.
as an opinion, I think that's the entailment that you wanted.
Do you want to lead people into thinking that you're right about it?
Yeah.
I would debate him, but he's not going to because he's a coward. He's chickened out.
Okay.
And if he doesn't like Big Tech as a moderator, I picked Big Tech because he's a conservative guy. Big Tech has different politics from Andrew and me. And it's so he's like a good third party. He's I don't know. I just think he's a very honest, and he is what he is. And so yeah, Andrew asked for a debate, and now he's pussied out because I asked for a moderator because he wants to have a long form debate is me without a moderator and without an official topic and just hammering on me and trying to make me look stupid. Not going to happen, buddy. I'm not actually that stupid. So if you want to debate me, you're going to have to have a moderator stopping you from being using all of your typical tactics that you use to avoid debating. I need a moderator that's going to stop you from doing those things. So I'm sorry. That's the way it's got to be. And if it's not Big Tech, then I'm the underdog here. I'm the one with the lower audience. Let me pick somebody else, and I'll keep picking someone until you think it's someone that's acceptable.
Nice concession. Okay, what else?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? The concessions?
Yeah, big tech would be a great monitor.
So what I'm doing is making sure that the framing
Andrew hates his guts. I didn't even know that.
is correct, and that you're not.
But he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me that he doesn't want big tech to be the moderator.
Able to lead people down to this untrue statement. So at least the statements I'm trying to make are true.
Untrue statement of opinion.
Yeah. Your opinion does it have any truth claim to it at all?
Well, here's the thing. This is also about what I said about Pearl. Is that
so like as if an opinion has to have a truth claim. No, she's recognizing it as an opinion, so it is not a truth claim. It is an opinion. She's defined it as an opinion. Move on. You keep trying to define her opinion as a truth claim just so that you can shut it down. That's like pretty close to what, it's not exactly, but it's pretty close to what gaslighting is. You're trying to reframe her opinion, even though she's called it opinion, as a truth claim, so that you can tell her opinion is wrong. No, you just have to acknowledge that it's an opinion and it's different from your opinion. And like you can try to like talk about why you think that opinion. You can go more into depth. At some point in a debate, you come to a point where if you've both been in good faith and are engaging, if you present alternative evidence, then you acknowledge that. Eventually, in a debate, you get down to a point where you have fundamental disagreements in values or worldview, and then there's unreconcilable differences. I don't think Andrew ever gets to that point in a debate where like, okay, this is where we disagree. We just can't. Maybe he does, but not like this. Eventually, it comes down to that, and there's nowhere else to go. And it's like, okay, we'll shake hands. This is my worldview. That's yours. That's the difference here. That's the fundamental difference in what we think. That's why we have this disagreement.
I said this, a matter of opinion, but also there's truth to it, is that dating a black man ruins...
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to go into that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, here's me.
All right. That was real frustrating call to listen to. Like, a juego, like, you have to reframe it as either it's sex work or it's not, just to avoid saying it's sexual. Like, what the fuck? Like, both you and Pearl, like, sound retarded.
Okay, so what's the argument?
Okay, I just need to get that off of my chest before I
the argument is that it is sexual.
Frustrating. Whatever doesn't need to be deplatformed, any leftists saying that it should are insane.
Listen how fucking out of breath I am, dude. These fucking Twitter spaces really get to me. I'm so anxious on Twitter spaces.
The stupid thing leftists do. Brian...
It's because he's got all the fucking power.
Literally has a sex doll on the set. He tells them that they can dress like they're in a hot club. The show is all about shaming these women, just like your co-host just said. It's all about shaming them.
Good.
But it's not that. But that they go on to be shamed because some people were coming on here earlier to say that it's like the simp pipeline.
Oh, also, I was getting dressed for work, and towards the second half of this, I was getting in my car. So that's my excuse for being so out of breath. Not that I fucking need one, okay? But there's context to what is going on. See, some people have a real job, okay?
No, it's the hate pipeline. It's they get a shit ton of like people that hate women to go onto their OnlyFans and hate jerk off to them. That's how they're making their money. That's what's happening. It's not turning men into simps. It's turning men into incel losers who don't know how to talk to women. Because they think women are all these fucking insane OnlyFans girls that literally go and perform this retarded bimbo performance to make men hate them and then get all these hate views.
Well, then how come these women, most of them, are so highly successful and rich prior to the fact that they go on the what?
See, changing the topic, okay? So, okay, I'm talking about the Whatever podcast. He wants to talk about what happens outside of the Whatever. No? Okay, I don't know how they get rich and successful outside of the Whatever podcast. I do not fucking know. I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. Maybe they do that there, or maybe they don't. Maybe they have a different strategy somewhere else. But when they go on the Whatever podcast, this is what's happening.
Whatever podcast.
I don't know. It has nothing to do with what I'm just saying.
It does.
About what happens
well,
I'm
but
talking about what happens on the Whatever.
Hang on.
Podcast.
I just let you talk. Are you going to let me respond or no?
I was talking about what happens on.
Yeah, that's nice. Are you going to let me respond or not?
So his response is to change the topic, and then if I tell him he's changing the topic, he's like, well, are you going to let me respond or not? What a fucking shitty quote-unquote debate tactic. Failure of a debater. Like, intellectually dishonest asshole. Oh, I remembered what I was saying before. So when he said that it was a salacious appeal to authority and kicked me, so after he kicked me, he's like, well, what he could have said was that he could have argued if sociologists in general are an authority, because I actually don't even think that. So when he made this salacious appeal to authority, he doesn't actually even think that sociologists are an authority. He just said that to be dismissive, and so he bolstered his claim with something he doesn't even think is evidence. He just said some bullshit.
So,
bad faith.
To respond to the claim, so that you know, you're saying that these already rich women, that it's creating a pipeline to people to go and hate jerk off to them. That's kind of what
Yeah, they go on the show to advertise their OnlyFans. Like, that's what, like, yes, doesn't matter that they're already rich. Fuck.
What your point is here, right? But why do they need to do that and make themselves look stupid if they're already multimillionaires or make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month not doing that?
I don't know, because they love it. I don't know. Like, that's why he says later that women just like negative attention. That's why they do it.
I don't know. Why don't you ask them? I would assume they're probably already.
Well, I'm asking you because it's your claim.
Because the majority, what you're asking me to pontificate onto why they're doing that. So
it's your claim, so I'm trying to see if it's sound, if it even makes sense.
My claim was
that's not my claim
about what's happening on the Whatever podcast. You're asking me a secondary question,
which is the motivation to go on the podcast to begin with. That happens on the podcast, right?
No, he's talking about what happens before the podcast. I wanted to talk about what happens on the podcast, and he's changed it to what happens outside of the podcast.
Promote their OnlyFans. Anybody that's like a major OnlyFans creator, porn star, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they know that the majority of men that fucking subscribe to them hate them, and they hate women, and they
no,
like,
they don't know that. You're just making that up. Demonstrate it. Demonstrate that that's true. That's just made up bullshit. You're just making it up as you go.
So you think that the majority of these men, like these women that are making like hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s a month, like on OnlyFans, you think that like the majority of the men that are giving them money, like, are actually simps and in love with them and shit?
I think for the most part, yeah.
Well, I disagree.
But give me the evidence for the disagreement.
No, most of them hate them.
Give me the evidence for the disagreement.
No, I mean, give me evidence. Give me evidence.
Okay, so here's the evidence.
So where's the evidence that they love them, though? It's just a disagreement. We can't prove it either way.
That I can give you. So here's the evidence. I'll give you the evidence to the counter. I've talked to these women, right? I've talked.
Okay, he's just shut down Lav for anecdotal bullshit. Okay, he doesn't know
many of
the
these
difference.
Women. They make
between evidence and an anecdote.
Claim the opposite direction, both on camera and off camera, that these men come in and simp for them and absolutely adore them.
I'm getting ramped up, and I'm about to go to work, and I love that because if I'm getting ramped up, work's gonna go by a little bit faster.
They're not there to hate them at all.
Yes, men do that, but the big money is in the hate viewers, the hate people.
Okay.
Yeah. So if like. Yeah, only they have access to their DMs. But the thing is, if you talk to any big OnlyFans girl and you talk to her about her DMs, it's like they will all tell you, and I've talked to these women too, okay? They'll all tell you that like it's awful. They get a lot of like gross shit. Majority of their incoming messages are going to be like that. Like Brittany Simon says she has a very different type of community. I'm sure she still gets a little bit of that though. But like, she's not like one of these, like, I'm talking about like the top OnlyFans creators that make hundreds of thousands on the website.
Okay, well, I just offered you my evidence.
That is bullshit.
Well, I just offered you. Hang on. Let me finish. That's
his wife saying that I'm doing bullshit soy rage. So he's not giving me evidence. Like, so we're both saying that we think that it's this way, and he's just gonna say, well, you need to prove evidence because my way is assumed to be right because I got God on my side.
Well,
basically, I think what's his mindset.
Yeah, but anyway, so let me finish what I was saying. Yes, I would. I'm a great political analyst, whether I'm pissing people off or not. But that aside, And by the way, for the most part,
I think he might be a good political analyst, but he's definitely not a good debater.
at the beginning of the channel, the content did not revolve around me at all. It revolved around other people. It was still a successful channel. You don't know what you're talking about. But that aside, back to this, I just gave you evidence for my claim from the source's mouth. From the mouth of these people.
Not evidence. You just made an anecdote.
No. This is from the source, the women themselves, who tell me this.
That's an anecdote.
Well, who's going to know more than them? You?
Can you not wait? But first of all, like, I just need to make sure.
Who's going to know more than them? You?
Not know the difference between an anecdotal claim and evidence.
Okay, but should I take this? Should I take the source? Should I take?
Anecdotal fucking claim.
You're still spurging, dude. Should I take the claim of the woman as being more accurate than your claim?
Yeah, you can listen to people.
Who do you think? Which do you think is more reasonable? That I take the claim of the woman who tells me this, who's engaged in it, or your counterclaim, who's not in any way engaged in it?
This is what I think, and I think I'm right. That most of the big bucks come from the hate viewers.
Yeah,
people that hate.
This is where I'm wrong, and I walk this point back. It's not the big bucks that come from the hate viewers. It's the big views that come from the hate viewers. Well, it depends. It could be that the big bucks come from the hate viewers, but the hate viewers are not whales. The hate viewers are just using like a fucking Chrome app to fucking download all of your porn and just like leave or whatever, or they like just forget about it because they have so much expendable money and they just leave it subbed or whatever. I don't. Maybe they do that. I don't know. The big bucks are going to come from the simp whales, but the simp whales are not coming from the fucking whatever podcast. Like, and then I get into, so why do they want all this hate viewing shit? Because it ramps up their numbers. Like, if you have 3 subscribers on OnlyFans, you don't have access to whales. If you have 100,000 subscribers, now you can raise your prices because, and your time is now a higher commodity. Now the whales are going to pay you more money just because you have, like, it's economics 101. So that's why they need to do that. So he starts arguing, well, what, like, if it's
then prove it.
Hopefully we'll get there.
I think you have soy rage. I think you're a little soy man who's really, really angry. And these girls make most of their money from dudes that send them love letters. I've done the statistics. I have a whole sheet on it, and the way that they make money is because they do, like, chats. Now, whether they have a chat bot doing it or it's really them, the way most of these girls make their big money is they have a handful of whales who pay to chat with them, who send them gifts, who buy them cars.
Yep.
So, no, it's not the majority of the money is coming from hate watching, you absolute soy retard.
Thank you. Okay, well, let me amend my statement then. The majority of the audience is the hate people. The whales are not. The whales are the simps. Most of the people flocking in are not simps, and you need to have a massive influx of people. You can't just actually. If they only had like 3 simps, they wouldn't get any attention. They wouldn't be able to go on to whatever podcast. They'd just be a fucking.
Yeah, they would. They would still. Just 3 simps. 3 simps can equal hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for some of these women.
That's not what I said. I
that would explode.
They would just be a sugar baby, and they wouldn't have access to shows like this.
Why wouldn't they?
Because they have 3 subscribers to their own.
Yeah, but the thing is that they can have. Do you realize that they can do all sorts of advertising they couldn't ordinarily do by having that kind of influx of money, so that they can bring the simps in on the OnlyFans? You realize this, right?
Yeah, and going on the whatever podcast is part of that.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean,
what kind of advertising can you do for your porn? You can't. Like, you can do something on Twitter. That's one thing you can do. You can go on the whatever podcast. That's about it. There's no other you can't make a YouTube advertisement. You can't, like, make flyers to post them on the fucking walls. You can't do shit.
By doing that advertisement, the most of the influx is going to be hate people that are going to hate jerk.
Then that's what you have failed to demonstrate.
Well, I don't.
The places that they can advertise, like fucking Twitter and whatever podcasts, are places where people hate these women. I've already explained to you, and you cannot demonstrate otherwise. That's what I think. You think otherwise. So we can just
but I at least have the evidence from the women themselves. Don't you think that's better than your claim of just?
It's just an anecdote. He's saying that I know a lot of people that say this. I know women that say the opposite. I know a lot of I know a handful of OnlyFans creators, and they all say they get a shit ton of hate.
So think this based on nothing?
Have said that there are
so like, for instance,
which I agree
what
with.
Are you even basing this on?
This is what I think.
Yeah, but what? Based on what?
Because I don't know. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
I want you to just tell me what you're basing it on. You think it. I get that you think it, but why do you think it?
Okay, the same thing happens on the Fresh and Fit podcast. Most of the viewers on these podcasts hate women. They're very misogynistic, and so they get a big influx of people to their fucking channels. It's not people that are simps. It's people that hate them. Seems obvious.
Because, well, wait, if they go on these different shows where perhaps they have hate watchers there, maybe there could be some people who come over who, like, I don't know, hate jerk off to them or some shit like this. But the core of their fan base most certainly is not that way. They were already popularized before they ever went on those shows. So I don't really understand why you even why you even come up with this.
You can't demonstrate that the core. I mean, I agree that whales are usually simps, but the core of their fan base, you can't demonstrate either way. But I think when you go on whatever podcast, then the majority of people that come from that audience are going to be hate viewers. And I think that's pretty.
Yeah, but that's going to be a small fraction of their audience.
Well, that's why they go on at all.
Yeah, but that's going to be a tiny.
Because they want to be.
It doesn't matter. We're talking about what happens on the podcast and why they go on. It doesn't matter if it's a small fraction of their audience. We're talking about what happens on the whatever podcast, and you've succeeded in making it so that we're not talking about that.
A retard. They go on to get viewers.
Well, that's going to be a tiny fraction of their audience, and no, I think that also. A lot of women enjoy having negative and positive attention, even if it doesn't lead to monetary gain.
What is your evidence for that, Andrew?
Well, the evidence that I would use for that is the amount of social studies which show that both negative and positive attention.
Scientists say so.
Appeal to authority, and you're just going to throw it.
Well,
off
would
like
you
that?
reject
Would
you reject sociological studies as being an authority?
I mean, most people would.
So would you?
Yeah, and I don't like you're just saying that without actually presenting anything.
Okay,
so
but you said it's an appeal to authority. An appeal to authority fallacy only works if we don't agree on the authority.
Okay, well, I don't agree. I agree on the authority. I don't agree on.
Well, then why would you say that I made an appeal to authority? If you agree with the authority, you fucking idiot.
You did make an appeal to authority, which we both agree.
Well, we can't. If I can't make an appeal to authority.
See, I've backed him into a corner, and now he's getting worked up, and he knows it, and that's why he's about to kick me.
Authority, if you agree with the authority. Anyway.
No, it's not the point. The point is he basically said scientists say so. That is a salacious appeal to authority. It doesn't matter if we even agree on who the authority is. That's one way it could be a salacious appeal to authority. But the other way it could be is because you just say scientists say so. It's like the same as saying the Bible said so. It's like saying, like he did it like earlier with women that are OnlyFans models say so. Even though I'm not really demonstrating that in any way whatsoever, he's not demonstrated anything. Even though he keeps asking me for evidence for everything that I say, whenever I ask for evidence, he just says, "Oh, people say so." He doesn't demonstrate it.
All right, enough. You're a fucking dolt. I'll bring the next person up. By the way, it's funny. If I were him, I would have countered with, "But you don't believe they're an authority." Which I would have had a great argument with for as well, but whatever. There's only so much that I can take. Red pill.
So he doesn't even believe it's authority? I don't even fucking know. Yeah, my argument for it's not because I say so. The actual reason now that I'm not heated is the reason that I think that is because OnlyFans models have told me that is their experience. Just like he's had OnlyFans models tell him that they the way they make their money is engaging with whales. That does not contradict the point that I'm making, which is the majority of the attention they get is very negative, and they get a lot of negative attention on there, and like they get a lot of negative interactions in those DMs. It does not. His point does not contradict mine either. Okay.
Hill apologists, followed by Fred Archer. Orthodox Daniel, I've seen you in the background too. I'm going to get you on as soon as I can. Red Pill apologists, go ahead when you're ready. Can you hear me, Red Pill apologist? You can unmute yourself whenever you're ready.
I got a button for this.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Anyway, I just want to say I think the Whatever podcast is really good. It's really informative. I think it really reveals the nature of women. A lot of women that go to these clubs, that go to these bars, this radical individualism that women or people in general, that women can think they can just say or do and have no consequences for their action. I was watching one of the recent whatever podcasts, and
I don't know. I want to get to this other guy. I only have so much time left.
Because that's the type of content with jarring, very emotionally jarring. And I think that what is jarring,
we're
sure I can get
talking about this very thing.
Okay.
So, I think the both of you are pretty great. So it's nothing.
So this guy is able to get through through Andrew's defenses, gets Andrew to be a little bit more good faith because he's being very flattering. He's sucking him off a little bit.
Yeah, I overtalk.
He says that he basically agrees with everything I was saying, except he says it in a different tone, and he says, "Well, I don't necessarily agree with that guy."
My wife, she's property. Property doesn't get to overtalk me.
By the way, I'm very much on the right. I think the issue with whatever is when the show first started. I'm sure you guys kind of remember in like 2022 when they had relatively like normal people on, right? You had like your typical college sorority girl types, which is I think it's trash television basically, but whatever. At least it wasn't all porn stars. But the issue here, I mostly
the show's
see
changed.
Is that you have a lot of men who are already in a tough dating situation and don't like how the modern dating world is, and they watch whatever, and I think it just black pills more than it actually helps.
Yeah.
So if you look at the comments below these shows and on Twitter and whatnot.
But that's what he wants. Earlier in this thing, he was saying that he's got such a high number of messages after going on the whatever podcast of men, realizing that now they understand. Now I didn't realize so many women think this shit, but now you've pointed it out to me. And as if that's a good thing, as if that's a good outcome, and it's not, because it's bullshit. It is. Warning! Bullshit alert! It's bullshit, baby.
Like, this is just pouring
It's
gas
fucked up. He's just making people incel black pill losers.
An already kind of bad problem, and that's like the main thing I don't like about the show. I was actually talking with Brian and Chase last night on Samira's space.
I don't think that being dishonest and being placating people and stuff just so that like placating an abusive person who won't let you talk unless you placate them is that's not how I define an effective communicator.
And
Ricky,
they're polite enough, it's fine, but what they're doing, I think, is more detrimental to the overall cultural problem we are experiencing at this time than helping.
Well, let's assume for a minute that you're correct. We'll just grant it all. If you are correct, and it has a more blackpilling effect than anything else, then shouldn't we have voices that are on the show which give Christian pushback and give normalized pushback?
I'm not against pushback, but the amount of people...
Yeah, okay, you say that it's of course it's being a more effective communicator. It's called being diplomatic. You make small compromises. No, Andrew does not ask for small compromises. He asks for major compromises.
People were actually saving, I think, in the
It's like being diplomatic to a terrorist. Like, that's the reason the United States doesn't negotiate with terrorism. It's the same principle of the amount of ask versus the amount of compromise.
Process of going on these shows is very minimal. It's kind of like when you in war, when you bomb an entire city to I don't know. Well, you bomb an entire city rather than just saving the 5 people you wanted to save.
But that's not really to the heart of the question. The heart of the question is trying to get to this. Assuming that everything that you're saying...
So he's going to define to us what the heart of the question is. So this is the compromise you're making. You're letting him define the whole conversation, even though you're the one coming to him having it.
It's true. Is it still better for us to have some sort of representation there to provide pushback, even if these are the worst degenerates on planet Earth And the whole point of it is just to, let's say...
I didn't say he's a terrorist. I say it's the same principle, okay? You're the one being Andrew right now.
Line Brian's
being
pocket and make them popular and things like this. Isn't it still better for us to do that than to do nothing?
I think that I still don't think we should be participating in this show, mostly because it's a ecosystem, like these previous callers have been saying, which they have articulated incorrectly, in my opinion. It's not just hate porn, and there's plenty of simps and stuff who are watching this content that love these women, but a lot of the people who do watch the Whatever podcast are both simultaneously like hate the women on, but buy their porn. Like, the women wouldn't go on if this didn't boost their numbers. Like, it clearly does.
Yeah, but don't we have a duty to challenge?
So now when he says it, because he's placated on every other point, when this guy says it, he accepts it and he moves on in the conversation. And so this is the one chink that has gone through in the armor, and now I've gone a little bit further into the conversation that I was trying to have, but I was a little bit too soy.
That system, even if what you're saying is true.
But you're not going to change anything.
Yeah, but we're not talking about outcome. Duty is not outcome.
This is duty.
Duty
doesn't
is,
matter.
Okay.
Duty's not. Duty's not.
It doesn't matter if it makes the whole world hate women. It's still your duty.
Hang on, stop. Duty's not based.
Think, Andrew?
Let me finish, man. Duty's not based on just the outcome. Did the apostles have a duty to go to places where they were hated in order to preach the gospel?
Well, yes, obviously.
Okay, but
Yeah,
those
God told me I had to shame these women. And it doesn't matter if the show is set up where there's a fucking sex doll. We tell them that the people want them to dress like they're hot in a club, and then we like berate, we fucking ambush them with all these red pill misogynists that hate them, and then we ask them stupid questions like, well, you're wearing a cross, but wouldn't God hate you? Basically. Wouldn't God hate that aren't you disappointing your beloved God who's given you this precious life by being a sex worker? And she'd be like, no, yeah. I've seen it either way. I've seen a clip where the girl answers, no. That's, God loves me anyway. And that clip went viral. And Andrew just posted a clip of the opposite where she says that yes, and and it doesn't matter either way. It's like, oh, gotcha, you're doing what God doesn't want you to do, or you don't understand God. You're a moron.
Those systems, which also pushed degeneracy, and they also had to find a way in order to, especially Paul, to live side by side with these people as they were able to push their messaging through. They definitely moved to where people were that gave them the largest platform for their messaging. In this particular case, this is a large platform, like it or not. Shouldn't we have a man in the chair for our messaging too?
I don't know, man. I just think the fight...
Okay, someone just did an Andrew Wilson in my chat. They said, Smeth, this must be one of the best showings of misplaced anger I've ever seen. You think Andrew Wilson is why men hate women? No. No, but he's contributing. Like he's saying it's his duty to shame women, and he's feels proud and he feels like he's justified because of the influx of messages he gets from men saying that he's opened their eyes to what women really. I didn't even know women were like this, and he's now like defined women as this bimbo performance that these OnlyFans girls do on this show. To a bunch of men. So he does make some men hate women more. Yes. No, I don't think he's responsible for men hating women. I think that's an age-old thing, okay? And it's not going to end, and it's not going to begin. It begins at the beginning of humanity, and it's not going to end right now, okay? But he's definitely not making it any better. He's making it worse. And my anger is not at him for doing this either. My anger is it's a frustration that he like is such bad faith. That's the frustration. That he shuts people down. He doesn't let people have the actual conversation. He frames himself as a debater, but he's actually horrible at debating, and he just shuts people down and refuses to engage. The only time he does engage when this guy is like fucking jerking him off. Like And then he still shuts him down anyway, and it causes the guys to freak out a little bit later. So my anger is not at him for making men hate women. I don't have any hate for misogynists either. Okay, I don't have any hate for Andrew, but I'm very frustrated and I'm angry at the way he engages. Okay.
Is just not, it's not worth it, and ultimately the entire show, whether you guys go on or not, it's, I think, a net negative, and I just really do not think it's helping. And I've talked with Brian and Chase, and like I said, they're not totally unreasonable, the stuff they're saying, and they've said the same things that you are saying right now, especially Chase, who is, you know, the kind of the token Christian guy who goes on every so
Yeah, he's
often.
the man in the chair, but we need him in that chair.
But
don't you see what happens if we don't participate in the culture as it exists? If we don't put pushback in the culture as the culture
Sorry
exists
about that. I had
now,
a phone call.
then we don't
Wilson
really have an
babysit you.
effect at all. We just end up moving towards more of the echo chambers, and we're not able to provide pushback on the larger platforms. So we don't have any of the good breakout stars that we need. There's conservative speakers who are better than me. I'm sure of it.
An irresponsible parent. I let Andrew Wilson babysit you. I don't know what he did to you, but I'm sorry about that.
Conservative speakers who are better debaters than me. I'm sure of that too. But where the fuck are they? They don't participate in what's going on inside of the culture war that people can see. And so we end up, our side gets completely maimed, man.
I just don't think that fighting random OnlyFans bimbos really like changes anything.
That's basically what I said.
Yeah, but can't it be a both and? Can't you fight all of it?
Well, you can, but like it doesn't really change anything. Like, whose minds are you changing here?
Well, I mean, the thousands of DMs that I've received, and
First of all, he said that it doesn't matter, but now he's saying that he's changed people's minds because he's making people see that this is what...
And the hundreds and hundreds of people who've sent direct ones saying that they support the work, and thank God there's somebody providing some pushback. I would say that it does, yeah, of course, debates change people's minds, but not only that, direct participation in the culture and a single viral clip, a single meme can change the direction of a nation.
This guy, I'm criticizing him for being a little bit spineless at the beginning, but he is smart and
We've
gets
seen
into
it before. So I'm not really buying this, right? Because I've seen how much a simple meme can change the way people think about things.
Are women, excuse me, are women actually changing their behavior based on you guys going on the whatever podcast and debating them? Because I don't think they are. And if anything,
well, I think that I can respond to this.
Absolutely not.
There's tons of people who buy my wife's book who said, I saw you here, I saw you there on a show which is filled with degenerates, for instance, or she debates with degenerates on different shows who literally tell her, I never even thought about these issues, but I bought your book in order to tear it apart and teach you a lesson. And then by the time they were done reading it, they went, oh shit, maybe I was wrong. The thing is like, are we going to be able to massively sway all of them?
Women? No.
No, of course not. But is that even the
Good morning, Aurora Borealis. Welcome to the Smeth Den.
intention? Or is the goal instead that we just have a man in the seat who can give some pushback for anything, anywhere? Because what's happened is what you're talking about, it sounds to me like unconditional surrender. Like if you're gonna pick your battles, where do you want to battle? Where do you want?
Like I said at the beginning of this, it's like a dichotomy that's being framed where either you're an absolute simp or you hate women.
To do these battles,
because the point is to bring on these women that like benefit from like men hating them. They benefit from it, and then bringing them on and putting them in a situation where they're like they have a sex doll, they're dressed like super slutty and in front of an audience that hates them, and they benefit from it, and then shaming them, and then getting messages from men saying, oh, it's so great that you're doing this because I really needed this. I'm so great. You've opened my eyes. I didn't know women were like this. That he didn't say that just then, but he said that at a different point in this conversation.
On to the battle, not on the whatever podcast.
Yeah, that doesn't answer the question. Where?
Yeah, he makes me frustrated.
Not where you don't want to fight. Where do you want to fight?
I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't
not
really
sure,
thought
right?
about
So this is
fair enough.
Yeah,
But,
this
like,
is the
are we
problem.
really- do not believe, Andrew, that going on this show is going to change really that many minds.
Well, if you want to switch, the tactics, then show me how, and show me where, and show me where we can strike better and where we can strike.
He kicked me because he didn't want to lose to someone that his wife called soy.
Harder, and where we can reach more people, and I'll go there. Does that sound fair?
Fair enough, but I still think you guys are participating in the most like degenerate scumbag like shows possible.
Well, I think that your lack of participation in the relevant cultural fight is far more degenerate and well, how are you going to get a big following if you refuse to participate?
That's what I'm saying. So it's not about really doing anything. It's about getting a big following. It's about lining your pockets by just, giving the people the misogyny that they want and spreading it and participating in the fight. It's not bringing people together. It's not bringing minds together. He's splitting them apart. It's a battle. It's a fight.
Who would invite me?
We got to shame
I was
these
a
women.
nobody before I was a somebody.
Sure, I guess, but I just do not think that this is like actually going to do anything.
Yeah, he asks a lot of questions where there's no good answer. Like if a woman's wearing a cross, there's I've seen him do this twice. Both of these clips went viral. I just explained this, but it doesn't matter if she says, God would love me even though I'm doing OnlyFans, or God wouldn't want me to do OnlyFans. Either way, she looks bad. Either if she said he would love her anyway, he'll no. And then he'll be like, see this fucking idiot. And then he'd be like, well, what would Satan want you to do? Would Satan want you to quit OnlyFans? And then she'd be like, yeah, Satan wouldn't want me to quit because this is what I'm doing. And then they'll be like, haha, she thinks that Satan would want her to quit OnlyFans. Isn't she so stupid? But then if she says that God wouldn't want her to do OnlyFans, then it's like, oh, look, she's so stupid because she's doing the opposite of what God would do, and she even knows it. She's such a sinner.
And it's anti-love, too. These people are, absolutely the worst, and I just would never want to talk to them. And frankly,
yeah, that's a you problem, though.
Easy dude as well. This guy is kind of gross.
Then go on and tell him that to his face.
A trash communicator. I get emotional, but that doesn't mean I'm a trash communicator. Actually, that means I'm communicating more. Other people will shut down because I get emotional, and that's on them. It's because people are so It's not. It's a couple of things. First of all, with people that are conflict avoidant, I usually don't get emotional, because I'm such a people pleaser. But when people will use your emotion as a justification for how they have won, it doesn't mean I'm a bad communicator. It means that they are bad faith. People who are bad, you're saying that I have to I have to play by other people's abusive rules that make them win if they are being bad faith. No.
Face.
I literally told him last night on a Twitter space.
Okay, so you are engaging with these degenerates? What's the point of that? There's no value in it.
I'm not on their show, though.
Yeah, well, you're in their space. You're jumping in.
He's talking about going on there to criticize Brian, who is the whatever podcast host. He's talking about criticizing him directly. And and then Andrew is framing it as if it's the same as going on the show and shaming women. Because the thing he's saying, he's telling Andrew that I have criticized Brian. That's what I think should be done. And then he's like, well, you're engaging. You're going there.
Because you want to engage, because you think it must do some good, or why would you do it?
So going on Brian's show
yeah,
to tell
Ricky,
him
it's called passion.
He's not going to do that.
He did it in his Twitter space.
Yeah.
And tons of people heard it, and thousands of people listened to that space. And apparently you must have thought it did some good to engage directly with this guy and tell him that to his face.
It wasn't in his Twitter space. It was in someone else's Twitter space, and he hopped in after I was already...
Well, regardless of where it was, you were able to do it, and people were able to hear it.
No, okay, you're saying the Sith are great communicators. You're calling me the Sith? No, the Sith is the guy who hides his emotions and does everything underhandedly. You don't actually know what he thinks. He's just manipulating you the whole time. That is what the Sith does. That's not what I'm doing, buddy.
You must think that it does some good to do that.
I guess so, Andrew. Very cool. Anyway.
Right. Well, I appreciate the conversation. I understand that these debates get heated because we are on opposite sides of the position here, but I don't have any bad will towards you, and I appreciate you coming on.
No, me neither. Anyway, take care.
I let my emotion... No. I can emotionally regulate, but also I'm emotional and I'm passionate. Okay? And you telling me there's something wrong with that is bullshit. Wait, I'm gonna use a different button. I don't know what this gonna sound like.
Shut the front door up. Just go away.
Yeah, shut the front door up. Just go away. This thing sucks, dude. It's so pathetic. Yeah, I'm not being manipulative. I'm being honest. And being honest means that a bad faith person will use it against you. And I'm sorry that you've been so beaten down by the world that you think that you can't be honest, because you are emotional. You can't not be. Emotions are literally part of cognition. If you are non-emotional, you're actually dumber. It's literally important. Your emotional functionality is an important role in your brain that, like, if you are bad at that, your likelihood of having dementia as you get older, it goes way up, because you have a malfunctioning part of your brain. You're mentally retarded. And being like, so not using your brain as you age greatly increases your chances of deterioration and dementia. So I'm going to be fighting on the fight a bit longer than you, if that's what you think is smart, or not being a Sith or whatever, however you frame it.
Care.
You too, man.
Darth Smith. Yeah.
Appreciate
Darth
it very
Smith.
much, all you people who have called in.
You know, Seth and Sith are only one letter off.
Thus far. Raves the TV show. I'm going to let you on here real quick.
Oh, I'm going to let him off here real quick. That's all I've got for today. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Thank you for joining me in the Smeth Den. The smooth cave, the goon cave. I'll be with you on Saturday night. I'm actually going to be on a panel talking about nukes, nuclear power, nuclear weapons. I'll be with you soon enough. This will tide you over. Maybe Andrew will, I mean, he challenged me to a debate and then he pussied out. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't really care. I've already got it all out of my system, so whatever. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go to work, and you are going to do whatever the fuck you do. Thank you for all the support. And this is why I need more power. Okay, Smeth heads, because if you want me to not get kicked off of shit like this, just because I'm winning an argument and because his wife called me soy, then I'm going to need more power. Then they can't kick me off if I have more viewers and I have bigger numbers, okay? Have a great day, Smith heads. Someone in chat says, well, Smith convinced me to date OnlyFans hookers. Things are only looking up from here. And no, Andrew didn't pussy out. He debates everyone, lol. Maybe he's scared of Star Wars villains. No, I think okay, then he's pussied out. He doesn't pussy out, he's just scared. Okay, we'll just say it like that. He didn't pussy out, he's just scared. Have a great day. Got him.